not respect human rights. What human rights are we talking about? We are opposing this, and it is shameful. We African heads of state must stop behaving like puppets who dance every time the imperialists pull the strings. The questions that my generation asks themselves are the following. If I may sum up, it is not to understand how Africa, with so much wealth under our feet, with such a generous nature, with abundant water and sun, is today the poorest continent. Africa is a hungry continent. And how is it that our heads of state are crossing the world to beg? These are the questions that we ask ourselves and that we have no answer to so far. We have the opportunity to forge new relations. And I hope that these relations can be the best to give a better future to our people. My generation is also in charge of saying that because of poverty, they are forced to cross the ocean to try to rally Europe. They die in the ocean. But that soon they will not cross it because they...
It is hard to understand. How is it that someone who does not understand human rights talking about human rights? Or do we say, is it only a human right when it is being undertaken in the United States or in the Western countries or in France or in Britain? But when it comes to Africa, it's not human rights? Can we be able to, can we get a clarity or an explanation on what these human rights are, really? Because someone who does not understand human rights, sometimes I find it difficult to understand how is it possible that you can be explained on the issues of human rights, being told and enlightened on the issues and things and matters concerning human rights with someone who himself does not perform human rights, does not do human rights. Africans have been suffering all these times. They've been enslaved for a very long time. Their properties being taken away, their resources being taken away, everything they own being taken away by someone who is actually emphasizing on human rights. What is these human rights that we don't know? These people have spoken about democracy. These people have spoken about human rights. These people are talking about freedom. These people are talking about, everything they're talking about, they're only good things by the words, by the display. But when it comes to the real thing now, it is nothing close to human rights. It is nothing close to freedom. It is nothing close to democracy. It is nothing close to human rights. Or which kind of a human right are they talking about? Which kind of a freedom are they talking about? Africa is the most richest continent in the world. We have everything. I say this every day. We have everything. There is nothing that we don't have in Africa. There is nothing that we do not own in Africa. Africa is a land that is blessed with everything from A to Z. A to Z. There is no any single alphabetical letter that is missing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. If we have to put an alphabetical letters on the things we have from alphabetical number A to alphabetical number Z. All of them we have it. Western countries, there are things they miss, they do not have. In the whole world, under the universe, Africa hosts 80% of the all minerals in the whole world. 80%. The 20% remaining is being shared by other countries from the Western countries there, and Asia and all those countries, and Europe. But Africa owns 80%. Which means if we have to compare wealth and to compare riches, Africa is rich and is wealthy in the whole world. But how comes it is only Africa that is also the most poorest continent in the world? How can you explain that? Which criteria are you using to, like, how can you explain that? How is it even possible? Like, how does it even make sense? Africa being the country that has many resources, many assets, many minerals, being the most poorest continent in the whole world. How can you explain that? They have used us. They have taken advantage of us. They've sit on our heads. Every time, every moment. We cannot even breathe. Anytime we try to say anything, they silence us. You cannot come out and talk about your rights. You cannot come out and speak about freedom. You are silenced by the oppressors, by the imperialists. When are we going to wake up and say no to this? By the support of the African puppets, African leaders, they're making it easy for them to be able to conquer. And these African puppets are just there. They're just there. They do things however they want to do them. They don't care about people. They don't care about a mother who is crying in the village. They don't care children who are not going to school. They don't care about anything. What do they care? They care about their stomachs. They care about their pockets. And at the end of the day, you remain to be the person who is suffering. You're living in the land that is wealthy, the land that is rich. It is blessed with everything. But again, you are still the people who are poor. Your land is the land that is poor. We cannot continue living like that. This has to come to an end. And we have to wake up and say no to all this. How can we be poor when we are the richest people? They come to our country, they take whatever they want, they go with it. They don't care. Whether we cry, whether we complain, they don't care. It's none of their business. They've seen us as illiterate people. They've called us useless. They've called us good for nothing. They've abused us. The other time, Emmanuel Macron was insulting Africa. You are insulting a continent, or you're insulting people who have fed you, people who have made you who you are, people who have created you, not created you, people who have given you everything. Like, they've wore you, they've taken care of you, they've shaped you, they've shaped your country, they've developed your country, they've given you everything you can get hold of it in your country. The development, Africans. The infrastructure, Africans. The level of economy, Africans. Right now, France's economy is failing and failing and failing and failing. And the countries that asked France out of their countries, their economy here in Africa, they are raising with a very, very high rate. Which means they are the people who have been making these countries not to grow. Now that they have been asked out of those countries are now growing. Just yesterday, Burkina Faso was able to collect 98 kgs of gold. 98. It has never happened before. Which means these countries, they have been sitting on our heads and eating from us all this time. All this time. And that is why we have always continued to be poor and poor and poor and poor. Africans, we need to wake up. Puppets, these puppets leaders, these puppets, they need to wake up. They need to start doing their responsibility. They need to start working on the work we gave them, or else they have to exit offices. And it is better when those offices are vacant than those offices having people who are incompetent and irresponsible. It's disguising. It's frustrating. It's painful. It's disguising when you see you are capable of having a lot of things and living so well, but someone is making you live a terrible kind of life when they're living so well. And again, other people from the same land who are puppets, helping those people to be able to continue manipulating and humiliating us. It is very frustrating, and it is irritating so much.